This is a running assessment with one of my physio patients, Craig, who has very kindly let me share his running files. So this is before we gave Craig any instructions, and he has self-taught himself that running with a short stride and having a high cadence is good. So he's doing a good job of both of those things, but you can see his style looks a bit awkward, and that is because he's focusing too much on lifting up his thigh and not enough on lifting up his foot. So I'll show you what I mean. So he's working or thinking about getting that thigh angle or lifting his knees up. And you often hear about a knee drive running. So he's doing too much of that, and he hasn't got enough of a lift up of his foot at the back. So it looks a bit awkward. The other thing that it looks like Craig is doing is it looks like someone's told him not to land on his heels, and the result of that, he's actually landing too much on his toes. So you can see it there. He's landing on his forefoot, and it takes a while before his heel comes down to the ground. And then when you land on your forefoot, you tend to land on the outside of your foot, which you can see there as well. So his foot's sort of angled outwards, and he's landing more on the outside of his foot than through the big toe. Now that can cause problems with calves and Achilles and with your lower leg. So landing too much on your toes probably causes more problems than landing too much on your heel. Let me show you the next video when we changed or gave Craig a couple of extra instructions. Right, so this is video number 2, and we talked about lifting heels up more and not lifting his thighs up as much, and having a slight more of a lean forward. So you can see there that Craig's whole body is on a little bit more of an angle than it was before. So rather than being vertical, he's got a bit of a forward lean. He's picking his foot up a lot more at the back. So he's got that more of a back angle there. And he's not lifting his thighs as high. But as a result of following those instructions, his cadence dropped a little bit too low. You can also actually see that we did manage to flatten his landing. So instead of landing on his toes, it's pretty much his whole foot landing at the same time. Still on the outside of that right foot, but better than before. So these instructions helped, but they haven't worked perfectly because his cadence has got a little bit too low, but it's a good start. Right, now this is video 3. So we had got the body position a bit better, stopped the knee drive and got more of a heel lift, but this time we tried to work on the cadence, and it ended up becoming a little bit too shuffly. So I'd call this a bit of a shuffle. So again, I think this is an improvement on his first technique where he was lifting his thighs too high, but now we've become a little bit too shuffly. So again, a flat landing compared to the toe landing that he was doing before. His body position is pretty good, but that knee angle now is on the low side. So what we're going to do, this is still a work in progress. Craig is going to go away and work on his body position, work on picking his feet up a bit more, and then just very, very gradually work on his cadence. And we'll be filming him again in the next month or so, and we'll see what progress Craig has made with his technique. Now this is probably actually the best way to compare. So this on the left screen is video number 1 when Craig had followed some of his own instructions, and video number 2 on the right screen, and that is with telling Craig to lean his body slightly more forward and to focus more on picking his foot up rather than lifting his knee. And like we said earlier, neither of these are perfect, but you can see it looks a little bit more like a running style on the right than it does on the left. We've really just got to try and help Craig gradually increase his cadence, and then I think he will be good. You can certainly see a difference with the foot landing, and you can see a massive difference with the body position. So on the left screen, he's pretty vertical, and on the right screen, he's got that slight lean forward. Make sure you don't try and lean too far forward. You're not running into a hurricane, but you do want a little bit of body angle. So leaning forward from the ankles, not from the hips, to help drive a little bit of momentum.